Supreme Court yesterday took a decision on the vacant seats controversy. Decided with Alexander Afenyo Markin in a 5-2 majority decision. That decision is supposed to be followed by the Speaker of Parliament. Will he? Will the NDC also play a game, as it says? Well, I've got two gentlemen joining us on the phone line. Private legal practitioner Martin Pebu and Franklin Kojo of Imani Africa. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Good morning. Good morning.
Let me begin with you, counsel, and ask you straight away. We don't have the reasoning from the Supreme Court, but you earlier had said that you would be very surprised if the Supreme Court takes this route. They have indeed. What do you say?
Yeah, so the first thing is that with the way the decision is gone, I'm lamenting our weak constitution. So I say that I'm lamenting the weak constitution because it enables our various presidents, whether NPP or MPs, to pick Supreme Court judges that have the same ideological viewpoints, jurisprudential viewpoints, or philosophical viewpoints as the president. So in matters like this, they will vote for the president. So for me, the main thing I'm lamenting is the constitution is weak, very, very weak. So this decision of the Supreme Court yesterday underscores the urgent need for us to overhaul our constitution and take away the powers of the president to appoint Supreme Court judges.
Right.
Yes, I know somebody will say, but it's done with the approval of Parliament and then Council of State. Yes. But all these institutions are not that independent. You remember Manasseh's book? He said, Joe White says, when they have business in Parliament, that we are going to vote against the government, the court Jubilee House to bring money, and then once Jubilee House brings money, they share amongst the parliamentarians, and then they vote to favor Jubilee House, Akufo-Addo and his family and friends. So it tells you that Parliament is weak, and also if you look at the Judicial Council, that nominates the people for the president to select and forward to Council of State. The Judicial Council is not independent. The Council of State is also not independent enough. So you see that we have a very weak constitution. Look at the Judicial Council. The president alone, out of about 18 members, either 18 or 20, the president alone nominates 4 directly. 4 directly. Then other people are his appointees. So they can't stand up to the president. So let's go, apart from the 4 direct nominees, you see the Lord Advocate General of the Armed Forces. He's on the Judicial Council. That person, the president is the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces.
That's correct.
So the Armed Forces representative, what the commander-in-chief says is what you do on the Judicial Council. Then there's a representative of the police service, the director of legal police service. We all know that each government usually has the police on its side. So such a representative is effectively the president's representative, right? So you see that I've mentioned 2.
That's right.
Then you have other Supreme Court justices on the Judicial Council. So apart from the Chief Justice, who is the president's appointee, you also have a nominee of the other justices of the Supreme Court on the Judicial Council. So that's also the president's nominee. Then Court of Appeal, one of them, also the president's nominee. Then High Court, 1. So you see that all the people, except maybe the Ghana Bar Association, who are that independent, and then there is the House of Chiefs, right? The rest are directly, nominees of the president or indirectly, like we have shown about the Armed Forces, Police Service, another justice of the Supreme Court, etc. So the Judicial Council is very weak. You go to Council of State, I'm sure we've had a number of debates where we've all bemoaned the weakness of the Council of State. And it was also even addressed in the Constitutional Review Commission's report, the weakness of the Council of State. So you see, but so far it's the Judicial Council that we've not analyzed. But this one, you've seen my analysis. So the Judicial Council is effectively the president's appointee, majority, we say it. So these are the weaknesses in the Constitution that have led to this. Because every president, that's why I said earlier, whether NDC president or MPP,
Right.
they will choose people they are comfortable with, family and friends, people who have, by in English, they won't say family and friends, they will say people who have the same ideological, jurisprudential, or philosophical outlook as a president. And people who are like you are your friends.
I see. Now, Council, let me understand something. The whole conversation around this, beyond the legalese and the laws and the things that are being thrown at us laymen, is that we must not get to the point where we get a constitutional crisis. This 5-2 decision by the Supreme Court overturns the Speaker's earlier decision where 4 seats were declared vacant. Already we are getting indication from some members on the NDC side that they will also not turn up for meetings, which means that we will not have the required numbers to transact business. Are we not heading towards a constitutional crisis if that situation happens?
We already have a constitutional crisis on our hands because, and this is the reason, because the NPP is not able to marshal their majority. That's the reason. So it's actually not a serious crisis. It exists because Afenyo Markin cannot marshal all his forces, all his charges, 137 MPs plus a CMR to make it 138. Afenyo is not able to bring them into the chamber because with 3.5 weeks to the election, 24 days, right, to the election.
That's right.
Those MPs are in the constituency trying to safeguard their seats because right now, you know, survival, self-preservation is the first human instinct.
Right.
So in this dying embers of their government, they want to secure their seats as MPs. Then they can have bread and butter for the next 4 years. That's to secure their livelihood. But if these MPs were to leave their constituencies and come into the chamber in Accra, they come and sit down and approve loans, etc., that will largely benefit Ekukwado family and friends. They don't gain much. So you see why there's no incentive for the MPs to come back to the chamber in their numbers. So that is the cause of the crisis. But it has nothing to do with the speaker. Because look, like the last sitting on the 7th of November, last Thursday.
That's right.
You saw it. The NPP MPs, they don't show up. They had, by some accounts, only 31 members. Others said 30. Yes, but Afenyo cannot show that he had 137 members present. So in order to cover the shame that they were muff, but when the day came, they didn't have numbers. Then they gave a litany of reasons. And when a caucus meeting, although we heard there will be mayhem if we came into the chambers, which are all a pack of lies, because what it is that, can you imagine, Mr. Hughes, what kind of caucus meeting can you set up that one? You don't inform the speaker so that he can delay sitting.
Right.
Then number two, some of your stalwarts in parliament are not even invited to the caucus meeting. Is this a caucus meeting? There are 2 MPs who said they were not aware.
That's right.
One, Atachia, and then 2, Apia
Kubi, that's
they
right.
said they were not aware. They came into the chamber and didn't see their colleagues and then left. So what kind of caucus meeting are you doing that your stalwarts, these are lawyers, these are senior lawyers at the bar, you don't invite them? So you see, it suggests there are some cracks. So, of course, there can be a caucus meeting of a few people, but that means that they just did that to cover up their shame, that muff. They couldn't marshal the numbers.
I see.
That is where...
Great. Let me bring in Franklin. Franklin, so it does appear that by a 5-2 majority decision, the Supreme Court seems not to see the weight that in the matters that you took before the courts, but they are seeing same with Afenyo Markin to have sided with him to overturn the decision of the Speaker of Parliament. Again, I ask you, maybe broken record question, but I ask you again, how does this decision make you feel?
Oh, well, good morning to your good self and to Martin. First of all, I mean, I'm entirely not surprised. You know, I was telling Afenyo Markin yesterday that, look, I congratulate you, right? Because somehow you managed to stand up for the, if you like, constituents who otherwise would have been, if you like, disenfranchised or not represented. For me, I mean, the principle still holds. I do not believe that anybody not even a single day should be without representation in Parliament. So any attempts to basically make people represented, I definitely have I'm somehow not comfortable.
Right.
Of course, it doesn't mean that I wholeheartedly support the fact that I'm against what the speaker said in terms of those for delinquent MPs. On the same principle, on the basis of just a simple reasoning that you lose an election, you don't get angry and go and set up join another party simply because you are angry, and then as a result of that, you are denying your own people representation in Parliament. At least by their acts, they really have disowned their people. But be that as it may, I feel obviously I still stand by the fact that the Supreme Court was very high-handed in our SAR case. Very respectful of all of that. I still think that Afenyo stood up for those people. And I'd wish that and I told him yesterday that I'd wish he had stood up for us the same way he stood up for these people, because it made me feel as though it was just politics and it's not just the thinking that they like everybody. In fact, if Sal had been in another constituency, as many people have said, especially a stronghold of the NPP, I don't think we would not even be discussing this matter right now. So I feel very, what's the word? Maybe, I feel angry, but at the same time, I feel that, look, these people needed to be represented anyway. And so if the principle is that they should be represented, then I'm for it. But of course, as I said, it should also be, there must be some sort of retribution for people who then decide that they can wake up one day and just join another party. I mean, I don't get the sense that I'm being told that this refers to the following the next Parliament. And if it was the case, it shouldn't even be in the statutes anyway. I mean, I thought if you read that or whatever, made your intentions known, you might as well forfeit the what's called the cap. So look, we don't have to have a country where the one set of laws are for a different group of people, and another set of laws for the other groups. It is not the best, and I yield to all the things that Martin says about the appointment process. I was surprised that the judiciary, of course, I mean, it was still unanimous 5-2 independent candidates anyway, because frankly, it was just to make us feel like I see there's some dilution of and of course, the Chief Justice was clever. Picked those she knew very well that will oppose the thing and maintain the same unanimous team. So for me, it was a joke really, and of course, we knew where it was going to go. But at the end of the day, we should start. It's true. We should start questioning the appointment process. In Kenya, the Supreme Court justices, I think, or the Chief Justice, the appointment is publicly done. I mean, the Judicial Council's reviews and shortlist, and then they go through a public interview process, and then shortlisted and sent to Parliament and later sent to the President. The President has no hand in whoever, I mean, the vetting process, because the vetting is done in public anyway, so you get to know. I'm sad that the judiciary has become a playground for politicians, a bully ground, and then depending on how the Chief Justice feels about an issue, she can empanel anybody she feels that may be thinking along her lines. This is not the proper judicial reasoning. This is just judicial terrorism that is at play. I mean, I say precocious plunder and terrorism that is at play, because you know very well that, by their comments, like Ansasari said, they are just too predictable.
But frankly, if you say judicial terrorism, that's quite a strong expression, is it not?
Yeah, but you see, how can it not be judicial terrorism when the same Supreme Court told me, in fact, told my good sir, I mean, Martin knows about this case. He was a lawyer at one point in time. After being frustrated through all the process of joining the new region or not.
Right.
Look, this Supreme Court told us that go away, go to High Court and start checking, because that's what it is. That's why Atuguba and the rest are suggesting that the process was truncated. But they should have told Afenyo to go to the High Court. Well, it's immaterial anyway. Whether I went to the High Court, I'm sure it's still going to the Supreme Court. That's the argument on the Supreme Court. But the point really is that the precocious terrorism in this case is the fact that we had even been flagrantly abused already. It's not as if there was a danger of being abused or disenfranchised. So we were checked out through state-sponsored, Machiavellian gerrymandering. It's out there. I mean, we don't know. You know that. I know that. And when that was done, we came hurrying. I said, not that our fundamental rights were in danger. It had already been endangered. They said, no, go and go to the. You know what? We went to the High Court,
right?
Spent 3 and a half years. Do you know what I just said?
No.
He said he has no jurisdiction over the matter. That's how Sal is right now. So when the Chikata says, lawyer Chachu say we should still appeal to the Supreme Court, I ask him, Todia, what is likely to happen? It's a gangster system. You don't see it. You know that it's not going to change anything. But for the purposes of processes, we will go. How do you describe that? It's precocious. Precocious means you actually
right.
So I don't mean so, and I'm not pulling back at all. I mean, I suspect that we are free to say what we have to say, and I have to describe acts that I've seen that are in danger of this democracy. In any case, the Supreme Court and the judiciary. What's the credibility of the judiciary right now? They are hovering around something like 28 or 20.
The Afrobarometer.
Well, the Afrobarometer.
Right.
So they're hovering around 25% thereabout. That's the number. That's the percentage of Ghanaians who even believe them to be doing something useful. We are living witnesses, and I think that, yes, on this matter, they failed woefully, and they became judicial terrorists.
I see. Martin, let me bring you in, counsel. Justice Atuguba, who for a very long time was on the Supreme Court bench, has indicated that, has stated that he would have directed Afenyo Markin to go to the High Court. The Supreme Court did not see reason to do that. In fact, they hurriedly empaneled judges to look into the matter. And many have wondered why the standards are different for the same cases that have a similar underlying factor. What do you say as a lawyer?
Yes, so that is what I stated earlier, that this is down to the selection of the judges, the appointment, who we appoint. A president appoints the ones he's comfortable with, the ones he believes they will vote for him on matters like this. Because, you see, the truth of the matter is that in law, you often hear that two lawyers confronted with one provision don't often agree. They have different jurisprudential, philosophical, etc. viewpoints. So what is causing this is that the president selected those who have the same viewpoints as himself. Yes, so on matters like this, then they can vote the way the president wants. So you see, Atuguba has a different jurisprudential viewpoint on it.
That's right.
And you see, he was appointed by a different president.
Right.
And so that's the problem we face. That's how come I stated that we need to reform the Judicial Council and also take away all presidents' appointees, directly or indirectly, and also take away the powers of the president to appoint the judges altogether, so that we can get a truly independent judiciary. The one we are operating now is not independent. This one is called the buy one, get one free system. Buy one, get one free because you campaign to become the president of Ghana. Then you get a chance in Article 144 of the Constitution to appoint High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court judges. And the president will choose people who are likely to have the same viewpoints as himself. So you buy the executive, that's the presidency, and then you get the judiciary free on top. Free. Buy one, get one free. So we need to redesign the Constitution.
I see. Franklin, your closing thoughts on this matter. So where do we go from here? It looks like the people of SAL, whom you have been advocating for, they would have to wait for the elections. But then this should give you a certain cue on how to go about things. Where do we go from here?
Well, I guess where we go from here essentially is that the standards must be set. Standards must be applied across board. I urge everybody who is party to this republic to start asking questions anytime decisions of this nature are made. I mean, we shouldn't just leave it to the fact that there's some legal issues and all of that. And so because of that, we watch and then some people's rights are abused. So for me, I call on every citizen to be interested in these matters, because you never know when the salvo happens in your area, And so please, and I expect that the judiciary also look itself in the mirror and ask certain questions. Are we being fair to everybody in this matter? And they should be careful not to stray into the politics of the country too much, because sometimes politics is just politics and should be allowed to play out the way it should play out. I think getting involved in these type of decisions, frankly, somehow also plays into the thinking that they are just in cahoots with the executive and they do anything at all to derail the legislative process.
Franklin Kujo, Imani Africa, thank you very much indeed. Matik Bebo, what do you leave us with?
Yeah, so let's marshal all our efforts that December 7th will push out the NPP. Baumia is not a good candidate. Their record on corruption, their record on the economy
is on 92.7.
JM is a better candidate. And of course, I didn't support him in the past, but right now I'm faced with Baumia and JM. Obviously, I'll take JM like that. And then in 2028, of course, we'll try and get a third force to come in, because this duopoly, that's how they treat us. When it's convenient, these are the things that they do. Okay.
I see. The cocoa that you brought on to key points last Saturday, what was the motivation?
Yeah, to underscore the suffering of the Ghanaian people.
In the morning,
the masses are suffering.
92.7. Sunrise on 3FM.
Kayaye are suffering. Lawyers are suffering. Traders are suffering, etc. So the question is that, has that changed? It's worse now. So you saw the cocoa. The cocoa was 5 cedis. And then if you add milk, 3 cedis, it becomes 8 cedis.
Right.
You add kose, 3, it becomes 14 Ghana cedis.
Right.
Why? Meanwhile, how much? Majority of public sector employees don't earn more than 3,500 Ghana.
Right.
So about 80% earn less than that.
Right.
So you see why we are all hungry, and then it's fuels corruption. Meanwhile, they said they were going to change the structure of the economy, the Gagisburg economy, so there will be more food, more rice, more poultry, more oil locally. Ask Baumia, has he ever exited his farm for these 8 years? I'm doing a bit of farming.
Right.
Ask Kufuado, has he exited his farm? But at least JM is farming all over the country. So such a person, when JM comes, what he should do is that he should show his farm. And whenever he goes there, he should have the media to follow and blast it on the various mass media, so that the youth will be encouraged to go into agriculture, because lawyers are farming, doctors are farming,
right.
etc. So that unemployment shouldn't be this high when we have a lot of arable land.
Martin Pebu, I thank you very much indeed. He is a private legal practitioner joining us here this morning on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. So let's go back to the Supreme Court, listen to how the ruling was delivered yesterday.
The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM. 3FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station. The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM. The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM.
Dissenting on the issue of jurisdiction, the plaintiff's action succeeds. The full reasons and orders of the court shall be filed with the registrar by close of day tomorrow, 13th November 2024. This is the judgment of the court.
Most grateful. Appearing with Alfred Chia Yeboah, Deputy Attorney General. Miss Dana Asnabadapa, Deputy Attorney General. Dr. Sylvia Adusu, Chief State Attorney. and Ms. Victoria Adoti, State Attorney.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
Principal State Attorney.
No,
Sorry.
Chief State Attorney.
Chief State Attorney.
State
I'm sorry
Attorney.
for.
Yes.
And
Ms. Victoria Adoti.
Alote.
Adoti, State Attorney.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
Lovelace Johnson, JS.